Hey guys, welcome back to the Veracity Markets Podcast. Veracity Markets is an authorized financial services provider under FSP number 4701. The contents of this video are for educational purposes only. So today we have a graduate law student, our first female trader on the podcast. She was at our previous Women's Day Empowerment event, and she was at our previous IB event. And she's one of the most upcoming traders in South Africa, and she's accomplished all of this at the age of 21. Introducing Gugu Mtshali.
Hi, how
Welcome
are
to
you
the podcast.
That's a mouthful of an introduction.
Yeah, well, you deserved it. You know,
you.
you've accomplished quite a lot at quite a young age, right? We were talking earlier on, and how long have you been trading for?
So initially I started trading, it was 2017.
Yeah.
I can't say it was a fruitful journey then. Super long story. I was a PA to a trader, and they only taught me indicators. So I really at that time thought that trading was about indicators. I remember looking at those indicators and thinking that I have the world in my hands. Because I mean, you can see the RSI is going up, so I might as well just buy. You know what I mean? So it was a very hectic journey. So from 2017 until this time, I think it has taken me just this long to be profitable. It's been a up and down journey, but yeah, so it has been that long.
So about 4 years, basically.
4
trading.
years, yes.
Okay.
Very long.
And your trading, how would you say, from 4 years ago when you started to how you trade now? If you had to go back to the first day you started trading with indicators, what's the difference? What's the big difference between how you trade now?
Oh, there's a lot. Hey, there's a lot. I think before anything else, I had to change my psychology. I saw trading as a get rich very quick kind of a situation, you know what I mean? So my psychology has changed. I know that trading for me is just like having a job. It's just like owning a company that I have to properly analyze. I have to properly see where am I going to place the trade. It's like having a company and you have to sign deals. You need to know when, how, with who are the right people. So I had to learn the right pairs. I had to learn when to enter, when to not enter, when to do things. So I think, mostly my psychology has changed. But there's a lot. Ooh, things are very different now. So that has changed. And I'm more of I really practice proper risk management now. Like it's not like before. We're like, I'm going to place the trade anyway. It's whatever. No stop loss, nothing. I'm just going to, So there's a lot that has changed. I think more than anything else, the psychology. I think more than anything else. Okay. That's what has changed. Yeah.
That is great. So tell us, anyone who wanted to say, who is Gugu? Tell us about Gugu. Tell us, besides trading, tell us where's Gugu from? How did you get involved with trading? What does Gugu do on the weekends? I know a lot of guys are asking, does Gugu have a boyfriend? I'm gonna let her answer that, but tell us about Gugu.
So, Gugu. Well, I'm Guguletu. My name is Guguletu Mtshali. I'm the dynamite from Soweto. I'm all the way from Soweto. I'm 21 years old. I'm a criminal justice graduate. I also do business management, and I also do LLB right now. I'm the life of the party. I was Miss Teen Soweto back in 2018. So I've been serving the community through my NPO called the Nali Guguletu Foundation. I'm just a server. I'm a people's person. Absolutely love people. But yeah, I'm the life of the party. That's who Gugu is. I'm hoping to also just spread out my wings and have an impact on people to just, grow. I think that's what pushes me all the time. That's what pushes Guguletu to just see people around her grow. I've seen women around me learn how to trade and do well. And I always say that I feel like you guys are doing so much better than me. And that's who Gugu is. I mean, when I see someone else do better, it's just amazing for me. So that's who Gugu is. I'm a very jolly person. I am very talkative. And that's who I am. I think I've mostly covered most of the things that I do.
Mostly, except the last question, but we'll leave that one out.
The last question is that I don't have time.
Let's move on.
That's the answer to the last question. I don't have time.
Okay. You mentioned something quite important in regards to you've taught women how to trade, and you've seen other women actually become successful at it. And you can even say that some of them are actually doing better than what you could have expected, right? How important is it, from your perspective, to actually empower women to be able to almost become their own bosses, trade successfully in the market, and also kind of start their own businesses in trading?
It is very important. I think that, women by nature are creators. And the power that the women have to create is really just beyond everything else. So I really believe that it's so important to teach women, because this is a very beautiful industry, if we tell the truth. This is one of the most sustainable industries, and it's one industry that is not really shaken, everything that has been happening in our country, but we still get to trade. Every time there might be looting, there might be whatever's happening, but we still get to trade. So I think it would be creating amazing women, teaching them how to trade, is giving them something that is a lifetime investment. You know what I mean? So I really do believe that it's very important. It's very important to also assure them. A lot of women that I've been speaking to and inviting to the free course that I'm hosting soon, they've been saying, but I'm scared. I feel like, this is a lot. I don't know, am I going to do well? Because it's a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
And I think the assurance that they need is to see other women doing well, So I really do feel like it's very important. I really think that it's about time. It's about time. I went to the IB events, and I always tell the story, like, guys, I went to the IB events and I blummed with the gents, and it's not okay for me, because I really wish that I had women around me to just rub shoulders with. And so I do think it's very, very important.
And statistically, women are actually better traders than men, as much as we don't want to admit it. But women are actually statistically more better traders than men. And I think it's because women are generally a little bit more patient. And generally, like, they can wait on a position. But for us, as soon as we see a little bit of money, not a lot, just a little bit of money, we actually want to take that profit quickly. But we're very comfortable to almost hold our losses. Right. So with those virtues and women being better traders, right? Actually, we should have more women in the trading industry, right? And I like what you are doing with your company, Generational Wealth, where you actually now not just bring in women, but also youth into it, right? Because you started trading at 17?
Yes. So I was 17. I was only 17. And another thing is that I didn't have a lot of money. You know what I mean? I didn't start my account. I remember my best friend and I usually, we used to deposit $10 into our trading accounts and we'd blow it in a day or whatever. But another thing is that I feel like a lot of women do feel like I need millions to start trading. I need so much money. But I think the skill is more important than anything else. And if you look at the big guns in the industry, they would tell you that no matter how much you have, if the skill is rich, then your pockets will be rich. So the skill is very important. You need to make sure that you know what you're doing and you invest your time in it and have passion. You have to love what you're doing. I think that's very important. You mustn't just trade because you see a certain person doing well in it, but just love what you're doing. I think that's important also.
So what would you say to someone who's got $10 in their account and they're expecting that $10 at the end of next week, they're going to have R1 million and they want to go buy a Lambo? What did you say to that person?
So one thing that I will say to that person is that, first of all, be realistic. It's not like we don't believe in miracles, but be realistic. I think above everything else, one thing trading that has taught me, and as I said earlier, that this is like a business. You need to grow it like a baby. Make sure that you feed it to grow, and the skill that you need is very important also. So I would say to that person that at least expect $100 in 2 weeks, maybe. You know what I mean? Make sure that you are very realistic. The Lamborghinis will come, the Ferraris will come, but they don't just come overnight. That's not going to happen. Because I remember, this is a very funny story. When I went to my first course, I went to my first course and I had to pay. I paid. I went to Pretoria, got to the course. When I left that morning, because my parents paid for that course, I begged them. I cried. Remember, I was still in high school at that time. I'm crying. I want to go to this forex course. If you don't want to give me this, then you are bad parents. They paid for it. And I remember telling them that I'm going to buy everyone a car. I'm like, hey, by the end of this month, everyone in this house will have a car. Up to this day, they want their cars because I didn't buy them their cars. So I think also the things that we see on Instagram, I would also say that as a startup trader, of course, you need that inspiration from Instagram, but hang around traders who you have access to rather than look at what the Instagram traders are showing you. I think that's the best, because if I had seen how traders, the real traders
Yeah.
live, then I wouldn't have told everyone that I was going to buy them a car.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the other thing, that try to get the realistic elements of it, the realistic side of it, rather than the Instagram side of it. I mean, yeah.
And you said a quite important thing, hang around traders.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a saying that says, show me your friends and I'll show you your net worth.
Of course.
Basically. And how important is it to actually hang around people who've got the same vision as you when it comes to trading, the same drive, and also kind of just very realistic expectations when it comes to traders? Because you find that a lot of traders hang around people who don't trade and like, isn't this gambling?
Yeah, of course.
Aren't you taking risk? Isn't it risky? Right?
Yeah.
But when you start talking to traders, you start having a conversation, hold on, maybe you're risking too much, maybe you're risking too little. How's about this strategy? How's about that strategy? So how important is it to hang around other traders?
It is the most important thing, because also it's not only about the inspiration, but it's also about learning new things.
Yeah.
I didn't know about TradingViewer until I hung out with a trader. I used to analyze on MetaTrader, and you know how horrible that is. So I think it's very important, because you learn from the littlest things to, skills. There's a skill that might not work for you, but there might be someone else's skill that they use that might be working for you, or that might work for you rather. So I really think that it's very important, because also consistency is something that's very difficult in this industry.
Yeah.
As soon as you blow your first account, or maybe even if you lose even 2% of your account, you're just like, oh my God, no, this is not for me. It's very difficult. But when you hang around people who know the industry, people who know how you feel when you've lost some money, they know exactly what to say and how to get back up. So I really do feel like it's very important. I think people would start thinking that you act like you're better because you're a trader. But it's important. It doesn't matter what they say, but you need to hang around people who will tell you that, you know what, it's the trading life. Let's continue. Let's get up, analyze properly, place a trade. And, also it's very important also because when you hang around people who don't trade, they really expect you to place trades in J. You know what I mean? They're like, are you trading? Let's see. Yeah. And if there's nothing on your MetaTrader, they're like, so do you really think you're a trader? So I think with people who trade, then it's like a situation of, did you really check it out properly? Let me also check it out. I think that has been the greatest thing for me, because some of the women that I taught are the ones that say to me, if I'm like, okay, guys, have you seen maybe GBP USD today? Yeah. What's happening? And they're like, I don't think we should do this, and when I go back to check it, and it's actually was not a worthy trade. So it's amazing. It's the most important thing. Build your own community. And that's one thing that I'm trying to do right now.
That's great.
Build that community.
So when you actually look at a trade and you do your analysis, what are the type of things you're looking at when you're analyzing a trade? So
mostly I was taught price action. That the story of price, as my former mentor would say. So usually I always tell my students also that do not be scared of the charts, because they look like foreign language. So mostly I do try to determine the direction of the trade, see what the price is telling you, because really if we are looking at the charts, they do really tell you a story. They do tell you where the market is going. It's not gibberish as it seems. So I usually try to also find key levels, see if there was any breakouts at that point, see if there was any retest, and find an opportunity rather to enter. Usually I use the Fibonacci to find my entries. But that's some of the things that I look at.
And Fibonacci is actually quite a popular tool. What levels do you use with the Fibonacci?
So my levels were preset. My levels are quite simple. I'll need to check the numbers. But so the numbers, there's obviously... So there's 27. There's a 27.
Yeah.
Guys, they were presets. Yeah. So it's 27. It's
38.
There's 38.
50.
There's 62. Yes. Yeah. So those ones. Those are the ones. Yeah. So they were preset from the time I learned about it until now. I've never changed them. So it's been like that the whole time. Yeah.
So on price, you probably look at a lot of pullbacks and getting in.
Yes.
Like trend continuation. So if it's going down, you'll look for an opportunity to say, okay, well, it's at the 50 Fibonacci right now, and there's a bit of support here, so I'm going to get in at that level.
Yes. Okay, so that's how I look at it, to say, okay, so that level would be proper for an entry. I think those tools just help. Checking key levels, using the Fibonacci, and ultimately checking the direction of the market really does help to determine how to trade, where to trade, and also how much to put into that trade. Because I feel like TradingView is also the best because it also has the tools to calculate your risk. To see where to put your stop loss, even though I don't put it sometimes. So yeah.
So you actually touched on a great point in regards to risk. How important is risk management? And if you had to look at the risk management you had when you started 4 years ago and the risk management now, how would you say that's changed?
So 4 years ago, when I started, my best friend and I, my childhood best friend and I, used to open with the standard lot size, first of all.
Okay.
As I said earlier, this was a $10 account.
So you are trading one standard lot at
it was a cents account, though. It was a cents account. Standard lot size. We didn't know about lot sizes, and that's why I feel like people should you should learn everything. I feel like people should not just jump into charts and want to trade. Learn everything from what is a lot size, how the risk works, and all of that. We would use the standard lot size, and just open a trade. Just we used the indicators. We opened a trade. So first of all, that has changed. I really, really, really do think about what lot size to use before I open a trade. I've also learned how to calculate my take profit if I'm willing to risk a certain percentage of my account, and also the stop loss. So it has changed a lot. It's different. Back then, it didn't exist. Let me just say that. It was not existing.
So there was no risk management?
No.
So how long did that $10 last?
It was $10 almost every week, by the way.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
Every week we would because we'd feel like, oh my god, no, we need to go back. We used to hang around traders. That's the thing. And to be honest, the traders that we used to hang around had already made it.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. And now for us, we wanted to be like them because they didn't really share with us the real stories of how they got there. But we just saw their cars and we were like, ooh, okay, we want to be like this. And those $10 would not last even 3 days, 2 days. I thought 2 days is a lot. But yeah. So
it was the same day.
Yeah, it was one trade and gone. And that was it. Okay. So yeah, I think it's a very funny story to tell now. But before it was not fun. Yeah, I used to cry.
But don't you think it's important actually for traders to almost go through that so they know what not to do?
Of course,
right.
Of course.
So I think everyone who starts on their trading journey, no one starts their trading journey and actually says, well, I made it successful on day 2. We all go through these horror stories of how much we lost and things like that. And how important do you think it's actually to go through that journey of actually losing money first before you make money?
The journey really makes you who you are.
Yeah.
I don't think you would be a great trader without that journey. I don't think that I would personally love trading without that journey, because trust me, my family, especially my dad, if it was up to my dad, he would burn me from using MetaTrader and everything. So I really think that it's so important, because then it makes you patient.
Yeah.
It makes you understand that it's not an overnight thing. It makes you realize that, what I want is bigger, and I need to make sure that I work towards it and I just don't jump. So it's that journey is everything. It makes you who you are. Don't think that any trader that didn't go through that journey would actually be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were to go back, I know I keep on jumping to the 4 years, but if you were to go back to the 4 years thing, 4 years ago, what advice would you give yourself?
I would give myself these words. I would say, Gugu, you need to learn. Because that's what I didn't want. Yeah. I wanted money. I didn't want to learn. I felt like whoever was telling me about a course, candlestick, I was like, no. I don't have time for that. I want the money. So I would just say, Gugu, you need to learn. You need to sit down. Forget about, I think also this is the most important thing. Forget about the results. Focus on actually building the skill. Yeah. As I said, that it's just like a business. You need to focus on growing the business before you expect the money. Like growing a child. Before you're like, okay, my child is going to take care of me. You need to grow the child, 100%. Take care of the child. So I'll tell myself to learn. I needed to learn. I needed to learn the psychology. I needed to learn how to control my emotions. I needed to learn how to trade, basically. Yeah, because I didn't know how to trade. I was just,
just placing trades.
I was just placing. That's the only thing that I did learn: how to open, how to sell and buy. Okay. I was trading like a vendor. It's okay. You're just selling and buying, That's it.
And you said something about psychology, right? Because off camera, we were talking about when you started trading, you'd place it and you'd watch it like a hawk. Every single pip up and down, you're watching it. But now you can actually place a trade and walk away, come to the mall, do whatever you want to do, and say, oh, okay, well, I've come back and I'm in profit, right? Then obviously it's a psychology thing where now you actually have confidence in your skills. You say, even if it goes bad and I lose money, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I make money as well, you do the same thing day in, day out. And like trading, like you raised an important point. Trading is a business.
Of course.
And I always say to people, like, trading is also, I look at it like a career.
Yeah.
Right. So I look at it as a career, like you're a doctor, you're a soccer player, whatever you choose. And these guys go to school for years. Like a doctor goes to school for, I don't know how many years, 7, 8 years. But, you'll never get a doctor who says, well, I just read one book on brain surgery.
And then I became a brain surgeon.
Yeah, let me just go and do some brain surgery now, right? Obviously, they go through a phase where they practice.
Yeah.
And how important is it to actually, before you actually go live, to actually practice, make all the mistakes on demo? How important is that, do you think?
I think it is important. For me, it's a very hectic topic. I always have to have it with the new girls all the time, because I feel like it's one thing that I absolutely don't like is people getting too comfortable on demos, because they do. They get really comfortable.
There's no emotions on demo.
Yeah, you just place and then when you get to the real account, you think you can do the same thing that you did on a demo, because you know that you're not really losing money there, but here it is real money. I do think it's important just to test your skill.
Yeah.
Test your skill, or the skill that you are taught. See how it works for you. See maybe which times work for you. See if you are more of a swinger or more of like a scalper, then move on. Like, I think before you open a demo account, before you say you're going to trade on a demo account, have a checklist. Say, these are the things that I'm trying to figure out from this demo account. After you've checked out everything, get rid of it. Because what is the point of spending months and months on demo accounts? And that's why I push the women that we teach for free that fund that account. Because you will know that you have money sitting there, and that will push you to say, I need to learn how to do this because I want that money to grow. So demo account is important, but hey, we need to move eventually. And what you were talking about learning, I always say, this is the first thing that I say before anything else, that the first time I stand in front of those women, I'm like, this will be like varsity. Yeah. It's not going to take you 4 years to get the trading degree, but this, you have to take it like varsity. You have to think about how, for example, I am a criminal justice graduate. I had to learn. I didn't just become a criminal justice graduate by attending one lecture and they were like, I thought I could, go to court and do whatever. So I think if that psychology changes from people who have not traded, before you even come into the space, just tell yourself that I will need to learn. This will be like taking maybe a short course, whatever. But you need to tell yourself that this is not umrabaraba. I'm here to learn.
So what made you pick Veracity Markets as your broker? What stood out about Veracity Markets and why did you choose it?
So a lot stands out, but initially the last course I went to, the person suggested Veracity, and I think I've always wanted a South African-based broker where I can just WhatsApp them.
Yeah.
The WhatsApp situation, because I feel like with the brokers that I've used in the past, I would have to send an email.
Yeah.
They would take 7 working days.
Yeah.
The email would be very short, 2 words, and you're just like, are you serious? Calling them would be like crazy international calling fees. You know what I mean? So with Veracity, I get to talk to my account manager on WhatsApp. I get to call her anytime. So for me, that just stood out. Even the love. Oh, I've received so much love. I always say that I was invited to the IB event before I was even an IB. So my heart always just, melts when I think about the welcome that I got. Even now, the love that I still get, the patience that they have with me as a person who's still trying to grow their business and get on their feet. So for me, Veracity is a family, and that's why I chose it. It's so rare to find a broker that actually turns into family and takes care of you. It advises you that, hey, do not do this. Rather work like this with your business, work like this with your people. With a lot of brokers, you're not even going to know the owner, the CEO, none of that. But we we see Shelly, we see
Yeah.
her, and we're like, hey, and stuff. So, yeah, it's home. That's why I chose it. It's very homely, and I'm forever grateful for that. So I would advise for anyone to go for Veracity, because you are never going to have a problem.
And how important do you think it is that because we've got a female CEO who's making phenomenal moves in the industry, right? How important is it, do you think, for women coming up in trading to actually say that, hey, this is a broker with a female CEO, and she's showing us that it can be done. So I can also do it as well.
Of course. I think after seeing Shelly, meeting her, talking to her at the IB event, having her even follow me on Instagram and DM me, because she personally invited me. I mean, I wasn't invited. I wasn't a +1, guys. I always say this. So, hey, I was invited by the CEO. So seeing that you can do big moves and still be a people's person, that's another lesson that I learned from her. So it's so important for women to be part of such a company, rather, because then you get to learn so much, right, from the big man herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The big woman herself. You get to learn so much, because she's really not stingy with information. You would ask her, you know what, I'm trying to do this. How do I do this? And she really helps you. So as a woman, that empowers you. And the fact that, she mentioned this, that as a brown-skinned girl herself, she really is just doing this for all of us. And it's amazing. It's really amazing. I think women who are going to join Veracity, and women who are already part of Veracity, I'm sure they're enjoying. But women who are going to join Veracity will see how empowering it is, just seeing Shelly on the front line, but also just getting the support from everyone. So this is a broker that really understands that, it's more than just trading.
100%. And when it comes to trading, like, what are your favorite pairs? Like, do you have like that one pair, if there was no pairs left, you'd say, no, this is the pair I love trading?
So I'm a fan of GBP USD.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a fan of GBP USD. I've really learned to narrow down and not try to trade everything, because before I would open MetaTrader, do like a any mini mini mo kind of thing. Which one am I analyzing today? And it really doesn't work, because you never get to then understand the story of that pair. As I said earlier, that I personally trade the story of the market, the story of price. So I get to understand the story. I know that, okay, it has hit its highest high. So, all of that. So I trade that. I'm just starting out, all thanks to Veracity. I'm starting out with NASDAQ. I've been trying out the micro indices, which are great. So so now I'm learning the indices, but mostly I'm focused on GBP USD and gold. Those are my two.
So you mentioned you've got your company, Generational Wealth. What is the vision for your company? And I want to ask a specific question in regards to, because you're still pretty young, what was your vision for your company with the younger traders and the youth who want to get into trading?
So my biggest vision, and this name came from conversations, because as young people, we always complain, especially as young people who wish we grew up with trust funds. I mean, all of us wanted trust funds. We always complain about that, and we always complain about how our families don't have generational wealth. We don't have a company that was left by our grandfathers. Now we get to, work for it. So my biggest vision for this is to just grow into that kind of company that will help young people around create generational wealth, because it's not about only you, and especially because people my age already, a lot of them have children, and it's kind of a situation where you need to now think about the human that you have made. So I really, really want that. I want us to help them create generational wealth. I want them to make sure that they create the kind of companies and they grow in this industry, even for their children and their great-grandchildren and everyone, So I think that's the biggest vision for it to help others, I think.
And that's important, because I think it's important for you to almost leave a legacy. And also you said something that it really is about, once you've learned the skill, it's also a skill you can pass on,
of course,
to the next person, right? And I think you're very passionate about actually passing this skill on to women.
Yes.
Because once you pass on to women, it's not a case of they need to be dependent on something else. You are almost teaching them to be empowered and go out and do it themselves.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
And I think we need more of that. So we commend you from Veracity Markets on that. We definitely need more women traders.
No, that I absolutely cannot wait to see more. It's my biggest vision that I have a number. I won't tell anybody yet, but I have a goal to have this number of women trading, doing big things, and so I really, really, really want to see that happen, because I really believe that this is a skill that no one can take away. Yeah. So it is just like education, nobody can take away your ability to trade. Nobody can take away your time or whatever. You do your own things the way you want them. You choose the lot size, you choose the pair, you choose everything. And I think that's one of my favorite things. I always say that I grew up alone. I'm the only child, and I've never been used to the whole thing of getting used to someone else's schedule and saying I'll do this at this time. So this for me has been the best industry, because I get to choose what I want to do at whatever time I want to do. So I can go be criminal justice practitioner and trade. I can be the Chief Justice of South Africa one day and actually still trade. So
And isn't it so? It's so interesting that you mentioned that you can still go back and actually practice criminal justice and also trade at the same time, because you don't have to do one exclusively. You can basically do both. And don't you think sometimes people try to rush and say, well, I want to quit my job and start trading full time, right? And if you have the benefit of actually almost doing both, why not? Still get a salary and actually still also be able to make money with trading.
Of course. And I think it's always great when you even have your salary, because you can then, I'm one person who doesn't believe in one trading account. I myself do not have one trading account. So I really do believe that it is very important to just, keep the money flowing in. I mean, we always preach 7 streams of income. So why leave your job? So I really do think that it's important for people to continue with what you grew up loving. I myself am going to practice as a lawyer. I'm hoping to become the Chief Justice of South Africa one day, and I'm still gonna trade. You know what I mean? So
you'll be the first. Well, I don't know, but I'm making the assumption you'll be the first Chief Justice of South Africa who also knows how to trade. So you'll have a very educated opinion when it comes to markets.
Yes. So I'll push that agenda there, the constitutional courts.
We like it.
Yeah.
So when you're trading, do you look at news events or big news events, or do you just look technically at price action?
So I do look at news, but I also just feel like that's something that you do need to learn as a person. For me, it has been a journey also learning how certain things affect the markets, because it's so important. I remember not long ago, there were news that were out, and everyone was talking about, oh my God, the Nasdaq is going to be a sell. And I was just like, I actually don't know what you all are talking about. You know what I mean? So I still used my technical analysis, but I would suggest that people do learn. I am trying. I'm learning how to use the news, but it's important. I do think it's important, because then you see the connection. When you understand certain news, like maybe the NFP, then you understand how it affects the markets and certain things. So I do think it's important, but I'm getting there.
Okay. So if people want to get hold of you, they want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Okay, so mostly on Instagram, that's where I speak to most of my people. It's at This Is Gugulethu. That's my handle, at This Is Gugulethu. And I really do answer to DMs. So they can just, DM me, tell me what you need. I'm always here to help. I'm always willing to help. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, Gugu, thank you. This has been phenomenal. You've been a great guest. We're hoping to see more of you, and we're just wishing you nothing but success in your journey. We're glad that you are part of the Veracity Markets family. And thank you for coming through and being such a great guest.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to continue my journey here. I'm excited. There are greater, bigger, better, greater things coming. So thank you. Thank you to Veracity. Never have I ever gotten to speak to someone or be interviewed by a broker. You know what I mean? So I appreciate this so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, guys, that's it for this version of the Veracity Markets Podcast, and we will see you in the next one.